You want to change your life. You want to overcome fear, laziness, weakness, doubt. Then you've got to take the time and train your damn mind. That's where it starts. Your body doesn't move unless your mind commands it. Your limits are not physical. They're mental. You've been conditioned to be soft, to look for comfort, to take the easy way out every time things get hard. But guess what? Nothing great is built in comfort. Nothing strong comes from ease. You want to become unbreakable? Then you've got to start with a muscle nobody sees, your mind. Mental training isn't about meditation on a mountaintop. It's about going through hell with your eyes open and still showing up again tomorrow. It's about rewiring how you think, how you process pain, how you handle failure. It's about taking your emotions, your insecurities, your self-doubt, and using them as fuel instead of allowing them to control you. This isn't about motivation. That fades. This is about reprogramming your entire mindset, brick by brick, battle by battle. Train your mind daily, deliberately, and without excuse. Because the truth is, if you don't train it, the world will. And the world doesn't care about your dreams. Discipline starts in the mind, not the gym. You think discipline is about waking up early, hitting the gym, or eating clean. That's just the surface. Discipline isn't about action. It's about decision. And every decision starts in your mind. The body will do whatever the mind tells it to do. But if your mind is weak, the body will break down the moment things get uncomfortable. Discipline is forged internally. It's not built in weights and reps. It's built in the silence of your thoughts when no one is watching. That's where the war begins. And that's where most people lose before they even start. The problem is most people wait for motivation. They wait to feel ready. But motivation is a temporary high. It fades when life punches you in the mouth. Discipline is what carries you when everything else falls apart. It's waking up when your alarm goes off, even when your body says stay in bed. It's showing up to your goals when your emotions scream, not today. Hey. Discipline is deciding in your head that excuses don't matter anymore. It's the ability to override comfort and choose the hard road every damn time because you know that's where greatness lives. You want to train your body? Start with your thoughts. Start with that internal dialogue that tells you to quit when things hurt. Your brain is always looking for the path of least resistance. That's its job. It's trying to keep you safe, but safe doesn't make you sharp. Safe doesn't make you strong. Every time you override that voice, the one that says, if this is too much, you can't handle this, or take a break, you strengthen a part of your mind most people never develop. That's discipline. That's training. And it's more brutal than any physical workout you'll ever do. Quote. People don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they never built the mental framework to stay in the fight. They never took the time to train their thoughts. They let stress, fatigue, and emotion make decisions for them. That's a mind untrained. But when you train your mind, when you put it through daily fire, you start to choose discomfort on purpose. You start to love the pain because the pain isn't punishment. It's proof that you're building something real inside. Every rep in the gym is meaningless if your mind isn't disciplined enough to keep showing up when life hits hard. You see, mental discipline is what keeps you focused when distractions are pulling you in every direction. It's what keeps you grounded when your emotions are on fire. And it's what keeps you pushing when everyone else taps out. And the only way to build it is to stop negotiating with yourself. Stop asking if you feel like doing the work. That question is irrelevant. Discipline means the decision was already made. You don't get a vote anymore. You've committed, you've signed the contract with yourself, and the only acceptable outcome is execution. So when people ask how to build discipline, they're asking the wrong question. It's not how, it's where. You build it in your mind. In the morning when it's cold, at night when you're tired, in every moment when your feelings say no and you say yes anyway. That's mental dominance. That's where the real transformation begins, not when you lift the weight, but when you silence the voice that told you not to try in the first place. Comfort is a silent killer. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It lulls you into mediocrity. You think you're okay because nothing hurts, because you're not being challenged, because life feels imbalanced. But deep down, you're rotting. Your mind is soft. Your will is weak. And your potential is buried under a layer of convenience. Growth doesn't live there. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It only happens when you step into the uncomfortable, when you force yourself to feel the resistance and keep going anyway. Comfort is the prison that looks like a paradise, but it keeps you small, passive, and afraid. The brain is designed for survival, not greatness. It wants to keep you safe, warm, and away from pain. That's biology. But greatness, that's something you choose. You have to wake up every day and say, I'm not here to feel good. I'm here to get better. And better only comes through discomfort. You want mental growth? Then start chasing the things that scare you. Do the tasks you avoid. Seek the situations that make your heart race. That's where your evolution is hiding, in the places you least want to go. People say they want to be mentally strong, but they won't leave the comfort zone. That's like wanting to swim without ever jumping in the water. Strength doesn't grow from reading quotes and watching videos. It grows from getting in the mud, staying there, and refusing to break. You have to invite struggle into your life. Set the alarm earlier. Sign up for something you're not ready for. Say yes to the pain. Put yourself in positions where you don't know the outcome, and then fight like hell to survive. That's how the mind expands. That's how your threshold rises. Most people plateau mentally because they're addicted to comfort. They're not lazy. They're comfortable. And comfort is the ultimate excuse factory. It convinces you that average is fine. It tells you you've done enough. It allows you to coast instead of climb. But comfort never built anything legendary. Every great story, every strong mind, every relentless warrior, it all came from suffering, from pushing through the storm, from standing in the fire and refusing to step out. The uncomfortable moments, the hard choices, the painful lessons, that's where real growth is born. Mental toughness is built by friction. Your mind has to face resistance to become resilient. If you keep choosing ease, you'll stay soft. But when you choose the grind, when you put yourself in situations that test you, break you, humble you, you start to change. Your perspective shifts. Things that used to destroy you now fuel you. You stop looking for the exit and start looking for the edge. And the more you lean into discomfort, the more control you gain over your mind. Because every time you go through hell and survive, your mind remembers, I can handle more than I thought. So ask yourself, how often are you uncomfortable on purpose? On purpose. How often do you push yourself past the point of comfort, not for the process? That's the question that separates the mentally elite from the mentally average. You can either live a life of comfort and regret, or you can choose pain and pride. Oh, you can choose pain and pride. One path is easy and leaves you empty. The other is brutal, but it transforms you from the inside out. If you want to grow mentally, get uncomfortable daily. Not just sometimes, every damn. You want to become mentally strong? Then stop running from the things you hate. Start running toward them. That thing you avoid, that cold run in the morning, that awkward conversation, that difficult task, that workout you dread, that's the exact thing you need to face. Most people think growth comes from doing what you love. That's wrong. Growth comes from doing what makes your skin crawl, what makes your stomach turn, what makes your mind scream, and not this again. The mind grows not from comfort, but from confrontation. So and to build a mental callus, you have to do what you hate repeatedly, without complaint. Think about your hands. You grab a bar for the first time. Your palms tear open, scare open, skin rips. It hurts like hell. But you keep grabbing the bar day after day, week after week. And what happens? Your hands toughen up. They form calluses. Now the pain doesn't stop you. You've adapted. The same exact principle applies to your mind. Every time you do something you hate out and refuse to quit, you're laying down layers of mental protection. Layers that keep you locked in when others fold. Layers that give you control when chaos shows up. But those calluses don't come from ease. They come from war. The reason most people break mentally is because they've never deliberately done the hard things. They avoid the discomfort and their mind stays soft. So when life gets real, they panic. They fold, they run. But if you've trained your mind by voluntarily doing what you hate, and hardship doesn't scare you. You've already met it. You've sat with it. You've learned to keep going with hate in your chest, fire in your lungs, and pressure in your veins, That's where confidence is born, not in the ease, but in voluntary struggle. You're not surprised when life gets ugly. You're built for it. Here's the truth. Nobody wants to do the things they hate. That's why it works. That's why it's powerful. Every time you do what you hate, you prove to yourself that you run your life, not your feelings. That's power most people never touch. You stop living based on preference and start living based on purpose. You train your mind to ignore how it feels and execute regardless. It's raining and you run anyway. You're tired. You still show up. You're scared. You go forward anyway. That's what separates those who dream from those who dominate. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about punishment. This is about becoming someone the world can't break. Most people are emotionally fragile because they've never made themselves do anything consistently hard. Their life is curated for comfort. They never push, never bleed, never endure. So the smallest obstacle feels like a mountain. But if you make it a habit to do the things you hate, not once, but daily, you become emotionally bulletproof. You don't panic under pressure. You don't beg for rescue. You adapt. You overcome. You endure because your mind has been trained in fire. So if you're serious about building mental strength, find what you hate and do it until it doesn't break you anymore. Then find something harder and keep going. That's how the strongest minds are built. Not in perfect circumstances, not with motivation, but through repeated exposure to difficulty, to discomfort, and to the things you used to fear. That's how you develop the armor no one can see, but everyone feels when they meet you. You don't become mentally elite by doing what you love. You become mentally elite by dominating what you hate. Embrace boredom. Embrace repetition. You want to know what separates the weak from the relentless. It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not genetics. It's the ability to show up and do the same thing over and over and over and over without needing it to feel exciting. That's the truth nobody wants to hear. Success is not built on hype. It's built in the most boring, repetitive moments, the early mornings, the quiet nights, the thankless hours when there's no applause, no recognition, and no visible reward. And the mentally strong, they thrive in that boredom. They embrace it because they know repetition isn't just part of the process. It is the process. Most people crave stimulation. They want something new, something exciting, something that keeps them entertained. But mental toughness has nothing to do with being entertained. It's about consistency, whispering, discipline, monotony, doing the same damn thing every day until it becomes second nature, until you don't think about it, until it's automatic. That's how elite minds are built, through structure, through habits, through the grind that never changes. Because in that grind is where your identity gets formed. Not when you feel good, but when you're tired of the routine and do it anyway. You train in repetition, not just to build a skill, but to kill the part of you that needs excitement to act. If you only work hard when it's fun, then your mind is soft. If you only show up when you feel like it, then your discipline is a lie. Real mental strength shows up in the boring days, when no one's watching, when the spark is gone, when the thrill is dead. That's the proving ground. That's where you find out if you're really about it, or just another poser who loves motivation but hates monotony. Repetition builds warriors. Boredom reveals pretenders. And the deeper truth is, boredom is a test. It asks one question. Can you keep going without reward? Bored. If your answer is yes, you're dangerous. Because now you're no longer operating off emotion. You're operating off commitment. You don't need fireworks or applause. You don't need a new challenge every week. You found peace in the repetition. You've learned to find power in the cycle. And when you embrace that, something shifts. You don't fear plateaus. You don't chase novelty. You become the person who outlasts everyone else simply because you didn't stop. The reason repetition matters is because it hardens the mind. Oh, you're teaching yourself that progress isn't about feelings. It's about execution. That results don't come from chasing variety. They come from mastering the fundamentals. Everyone wants to be great, but few are willing to stay in the trenches long enough to earn it. The grind gets boring. Good. That means you're getting somewhere. That means your emotions no longer control you. You're not a slave to mood swings. You've become mechanical, surgical, disciplined. And that's exactly what high-level performance demands. So if you want to be mentally sharp, stop chasing what's new. Embrace the boredom. Love the routine. Show up to the same workout, the same task, the same practice. Not because it's fun, but because it's necessary. Repetition isn't the enemy. It's the weapon. Boredom isn't the problem. It's the filter that separates those who rise from those who rot. You don't need something new. You need to go deeper into what already works. That's how your mind becomes untouchable. Use pain as a weapon, not a weakness. Pain is the greatest teacher most people will never listen to. They feel it and run. They hurt and quit. They confuse pain with punishment when in reality, pain is opportunity. Pain is the signal that growth is happening. It's the cost of transformation. And if you're smart, if you're built different, you stop avoiding it, you start using it. And you take the pain that broke you and you make it the very thing that builds you. You convert that suffering into strength because pain isn't your enemy. It's your weapon. but only if you learn how to wield it. The truth is, most people are mentally fragile because they've never had to confront real pain. They avoid the hard conversations, skip the uncomfortable workouts, stay in the safe zone. They've been taught to soothe pain, not to fight through it. But warriors, they use it. They take the darkest moments, the betrayal, the loss, the failure, and they absorb them. They feed off them. Pain becomes their fuel. It sharpens their mind. It lights a fire in them that no comfort ever could. Because once you've been through hell, everything else looks manageable. Rich, right? Everything else looks manageable. Pain stops being a threat. It becomes a tool. You have two choices when pain shows up: break or build. Weak minds break and blame everything around them. Strong minds build and look inward. They ask, what can I take from this? They don't waste time crying about the discomfort. They mine it for purpose. That heartbreak, that humiliation, that injury, that loss, that failure, it becomes their motivation. The reminder that they're not done, that there's more fight in them. The pain doesn't disappear. It gets redirected. It becomes energy. It becomes the reason they never quit, never stop, never let go. Pain is also a test. It wants to see what you're made of. Will you beg for it to stop, or will you smile and keep moving forward? Most people crack. They panic. They retreat. They soften. But those who embrace pain, those who use it, they become unstoppable. Pain shows them their limits, and then they tear through those limits with grit and rage. Because the moment you stop fearing pain, you become dangerous. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop asking, can I handle this? So asking, can I handle this? And start declaring, try and stop me. Understand this, your pain is not unique. It's not special. Everyone hurts. Everyone struggles. What separates people is how they respond to it. Will you let it define you or refine you, or refine you? Will it bury you or build you? Pain doesn't care about your feelings, but it will reveal your character. If you choose to harness it, pain becomes your power. It becomes the reminder of where you came from, what you survived, and what you're willing to endure to get where you're going. The world will try to break you, but if you've made pain your ally, nothing can touch you. So stop seeing pain as something to avoid. Use it, feel it, carry it into your training, your goals, your daily battles. Let it fuel your discipline. Let it remind you why you started. Every ache, every bruise, every emotional scar, that's proof that you're still standing, still swinging. You haven't folded. You haven't given up. You're still here. And that's what makes you lethal.